Welcome to my channel. Please enjoy the video. What is going on, my tea sippers? I do apologize. My device froze on that live, guys. I just quickly got this information and I want to prove to you guys what really happened back in 2008 and how, yes, how Barry Hankerson, he himself, is the one who turned in the tape. And I know this now 100% without a shadow of a doubt. Barry Hankerson lied, and he's a liar, allegedly, because Barry Hankerson was the one who told the world that he went to Louis Farrakhan and he said they just was going to pray about the whole situation with R. Kelly. Guys, it seems if people were paying attention and put everything together, Louis Farrakhan himself threw Barry Hankerson under the bus. He not only told that he had a 4-hour meeting with R. Kelly, he also said some things that Barry Hankerson told him about R. Kelly and what he was going to do to R. Kelly. Louis Farrakhan told this to his congregation and the whole wide world, for the people who caught the gem and was paying attention. However, this was my first time seeing this and ever hearing about this. So when it was sent to me and I went through it and I looked at it and I said, oh my God, the truth was right in front of our faces the whole time. But like I said, guys, I've never seen this, but this just clarifies and clears up my thoughts from the very beginning. Me always thinking that it was Barry Hankerson who turned the tape over. For one, guys, in this thing that you're about to hear, remember Barry Hankerson said this year that when he found out about R. Kelly, what he was doing to his niece, he went to Louis Farrakhan and they just prayed about it and put it in God's hands. I'm going to prove to you guys that Barry Hankerson is a liar, as well as on that part, because that's not what Louis Farrakhan said to him. And Louis Farrakhan never said that Barry Hankerson said, oh, let's pray about it, or that he told him to pray about it. Because we're going to hear what Louis Farrakhan said from his own mouth and not Sweet Tea TV. But however, before we get into that, because it's time now to drag Barry Hankerson, he is very, very, very draggable at this point. And I'm going to tell it all. I'm going to spill the beans, okay? Now, another lie in which Barry Hankerson told is about to be exposed as well. Now, remember, guys, Barry Hankerson said that he's not a killer. I beg to differ. Barry Hankerson claims that if he'd known about what R. Kelly was doing to Aaliyah, they wouldn't even have to worry about having a trial for him if he knew that R. Kelly was sexually abusing his niece. And that's another goddamn lie that Barry Hankerson told an outlet. He's always going to the outlets with lies. When in fact, guys, and this is allegedly, right? Barry Hankerson is a goddamn killer. Trust me. Now, as everybody should know that in the early 1990s, Barry Hankerson was R. Kelly's manager, okay? And Barry Hankerson, once again, was the one who introduced his niece, Aaliyah, to R. Kelly. And she was 13, guys. They're saying she's 12, 13, but she's 13. Okay? So, like I said, he was his manager. He was around him. He knew him. He knew the boy couldn't read. He knew lots of things about R. Kelly. But just to prove to you guys that Barry Hankerson knew what was going on, and Barry Hankerson did not go to Louis Farrakhan and talk anything about praying, guys. He could have meant two things. I believe for a fact he was the one that turned that tape in. And I believe for a fact that he was trying to either have R. Kelly taken out of this world or he was going to do it himself. But he knew. So why would you go to Louis Farrakhan with this outrage about something that you knew all along? Hey, in my opinion, guys, Barry Hankerson thought in his mind, hey, I couldn't be a killer because I don't want to go to prison, but I'm going to get rid of him. And these were his exact words. You guys can take it for what I said if he was going to kill him, or what if I said he was going to find a way to get rid of him in another kind of way. This right here is the icing on the cake and the cherry on top. that really proves, without a shadow of a doubt, because it makes sense, that Barry Hankerson was the one who turned in that tape to the newspaper. There was nobody else. It was not Sparkle's brother. It was not anybody else. It was Barry Hankerson himself. Barry Hankerson had that tape. And Barry Hankerson reached out to DR.OZ, allegedly. Okay? And then that's when he started telling him about Sparkle and telling him about his niece, Aaliyah. Not only that, how do you guys think that DR.OZ even found out about Tiffany Hawkins? Like I said, guys, Barry Hankerson was in the midst of all of this when this was going down. Nobody has ever came out and even said, at the time when all the shit was going on with Aaliyah and Tiffany Hawkins, remember, guys, Barry Hankerson was R. Kelly's manager at that time. Remember what R. Kelly said in front of Sparkle's parents to her? She even mentioned that Barry Hankerson was sitting right at the table and heard what R. Kelly said. Tiffany Hawkins, Aaliyah, all of these young girls, everything that was going on, including Rashonda Landfair and the tape, Barry Hankerson knew about it all. So I guess he sat on that tape, and after everything went down with Aaliyah, he decided, either I'm going to kill this bastard or I'm going to turn this tape into the newspaper. Barry Hankerson decided what he was going to do, and he was the one who turned that tape in. Not only that, guys, because the beans have been spilled already, if you think about it. Barry Hankerson told DR.OZ about Tiffany Hawkins, about Aaliyah, about Sparkle's niece when he turned that tape in. He gave them the full information that the newspaper didn't know about, because when the newspaper received the tape, they just got the tape. They didn't know all of R. Kelly's previous victims or any lawsuits that were filed against him or anything about Aaliyah. They only knew about the tape. And the only person that was around R. Kelly and in his presence and all up under him was Barry Hankerson. And just listen to Louis Farrakhan, guys. Listen very carefully, because he kind of throws Barry Hankerson under the bus, but he throws himself under the bus as well.
We had a 4-hour talk with R. Kelly. Now listen, no. He came to our home with 6 of his friends. And I told him, I have had a message in my heart for you for over 20 years. And I'm so glad for the opportunity to share it with you. He was managed by a friend of mine. What's that, brother? Barry Hankerson. And Barry told me, I'm going to get rid of him. I said, Barry, be patient. I said, that boy is deeply spiritual. A man can't write no songs like that and not have God all up in him, but he's got to be cleansed. Do you understand what I'm saying? All of you in here have done something wrong, but you are not evil people. Somebody got to reach into you and bring out the God that's in you and clear you of your evil. That's why we recorded this song. He looked beyond my faults and he saw my need. Brothers and sisters, we'll never find the love and the unity and the peace that we deserve unless we're able to look past someone's faults to see what they need and address that need.
As you can see, guys, that is far from what Barry Hankerson told the Ricky Smiley show, okay? Barry Hankerson said that he and Louis Farrakhan met and he told him we're going to pray about this and just leave it in God's hands. But if you guys clearly heard Louis Farrakhan, that is far from what Barry Hankerson told us that they talked about. Now, Louis Farrakhan told Barry Hankerson to just be patient when Barry Hankerson explained to him that he's going to get rid of R. Kelly. We don't know which way he meant, but we can kind of figure it out because R. Kelly is still alive. However, that is not, once again, what Barry Hankerson said the discussion between him and Louis Farrakhan was about. Louis Farrakhan tells Barry Hankerson to be patient. Barry Hankerson had to told Louis Farrakhan about Aaliyah, about the girls, and about the tape. I believe that Louis Farrakhan told Barry Hankerson to turn the tape into the newspaper, if you guys really think about it, because he said he was going to get rid of him. Now, Louis Farrakhan shows his character as well because you had a private conversation about a pedophile who was molesting your niece and other little girls. You decide, Louis Farrakhan, to come out to your congregation and tell the world and record it about the private personal conversation that you and Barry Hankerson had. Not only that, he turns around and says that he had a 4-hour meeting with R. Kelly, and he had a message in his heart to give to him for 20 whole years. Does this mean that Louis Farrakhan sat back and heard things in Chicago, because he lived in Chicago as well, about R. Kelly and young people and young girls and boys for over 20 years, and after Barry Hankerson comes to you and tells you that he wants to get rid of him, now you turn around and have a meeting with R. Kelly? So now, guys, we have an actual timeline, and this was way before this trial came out, because there was a trial before this trial, and that was the trial in 2008. So Barry Hankerson just came out in 2021 and stating that he didn't know anything, and he went to Louis Farrakhan and he didn't know anything about what was going on with Aaliyah. That is a goddamn lie, and Louis Farrakhan just told it. He did not meet with Louis Farrakhan in no goddamn 2021 because Louis Farrakhan is not even on YouTube anymore. This is an old video that Louis Farrakhan made when he was on YouTube. So this is proof that Barry Hankerson lied. He knew the whole time, like I told you guys. Now, guys, I'm going to lay something very hard on you, and I hope you guys can take it. This is just my opinion looking at everything. Now, guys, Barry Hankerson turned the tape in. He just knew that R. Kelly was going to get convicted, right? Barry Hankerson knew the inside scoop about everything that was going on the trial. Why do you guys think he was never mentioned anywhere? Barry Hankerson found out that R. Kelly paid this family off. This made Barry Hankerson really furious about this because, like he told Minister Louis Farrakhan, I'm going to get rid of him. Now, like I said, guys, we see R. Kelly did not die. He didn't have a scrape on him. Nobody did anything to him to where he was going to stop breathing. So once that did not work out for Barry Hankerson, he found out that R. Kelly paid this family off. I believe he blew the whistle on that as well. And that's when the FBI started the investigation and then came up with that indictment. But if you guys see, Barry Hankerson had to come out from behind the curtain. He's been hiding. He's been quiet for years, just like his sister Diane Houghton. All of a sudden, R. Kelly trial starts. What do you know? Barry Hankerson appears. He knows R. Kelly's been locked up for 2.5 years. But he comes out and starts talking about Aaliyah and her music and streaming her music. Put it together, guys. Doesn't it make sense? Finally, R. Kelly has been rid of in Barry Hankerson's mind. Now he can come out and bring Aaliyah's music out, and everybody's gonna live happily ever after. Barry Hankerson, we don't think so, sweetie, because you got a lot of explaining to do. Barry Hankerson had that tape, guys, and he sat on that tape. He brought that tape out just in time. And I believe not only did he just sit there and hold the tape, He was waiting for Tiffany Hawkins' lawsuit to be over with to bring that information to the newspaper as well. And guys, believe it or not, Barry Hankerson himself took that tape and had Sparkle to look at that tape. Barry Hankerson had the tape. And I believe this is how everything played out. But if you guys listen to Louis Farrakhan, if you want to rewind this back, remember what Louis Farrakhan said he told Barry Hankerson when Barry Hankerson said that he wanted to get rid of R. Kelly? Louis Farrakhan stated himself out of his own mouth, when Barry Hankerson said that he was going to get rid of R. Kelly, Louis Farrakhan said he stated to him to be patient. What man tells another man to be patient when he comes to you and tells you that his niece is being sexually molested by R. Kelly? You tell him to be patient? See, Louis Farrakhan and Barry Hankerson are friends for a reason, because they too, like Demetrius Smith, likes to double talk. There is no way in hell Louis Farrakhan told Barry Hankerson to just be patient. I believe he told him, if you have anything on that young man, you need to turn it over. Turn it over to the authorities or the newspaper. Or they probably had some other plans up their sleeve. However, we will never know about that. But I know about this, and I wanted to share this with you guys. And I'd like to thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video.